Ghana, much like every other country, has a long way to go in development, but specifically in the development of women. Many of us have lost the ability to see our power and purpose. Many of us have let go of the core mandate that we were created for. Our goal is to diversify the narrative. Black women are entrepreneurs. Black women are going to be top CEOs, CTOs, COOs. What was lost to the sea, the waves will return. Hi everyone, my name is Diana Wilson. I am the CEO and founder at Yielding Accomplished African Women, and I'm also a product marketing manager at Google. Yes, Ya W is named after the feminist heroine Ya Santewa, and we are building the largest global career community of Black women in STEM careers, specifically in finance and technology across the world. Growing up in Ghana, I was a young girl. Everything I knew about the world was in Ghana. My aunt who was raising me, that's who I thought my mom was. My cousins who were nearby me, that's who I thought my siblings were. And so growing up, yogurts, Coca-Cola, all the things that were so far from us were the gifts and the hope that we had on Sunday morning that we would get, and some biscuits included. And then moving from Ghana to America, I really came to understand the difference in my identity. When I landed in America, people not only looked at me in a way that I never had perceived before, but also I couldn't speak English. So I was speaking in our local language of Ghana, thinking that the world around me knew and understood me, because they always had. But I was finally in a place where Ghana wasn't the main language. I was in a place where everyone wasn't Black. And I was in a place where I had to do more work, put in more effort, because not knowing English meant I was a little bit behind. And so even at school, the classes that I was a part of were smaller classes, the classes of the people who didn't know English, while my siblings and everyone else went on to the regular classes. And so my beginning point in America showed me my difference. It showed me my uniqueness, and it showed me in a way that was derogatory. But by God's grace, through time, I came to love and own that identity and make it something that I realize is a part of the fabric of my purpose. Everyone always asks this question, and it's such a phenomenal question because it's such a jarring story. It was the first time I was going back to Ghana since I had been in the US. And so I was on the South Africa plane, leaving from Washington, D.C., going to Accra. I could not even sleep. 10 hours straight, I was up. I was eating the airport food with so much energy and vim because I knew I was coming back home. And that point of difference that I had always felt in America was now going to come to an end. I was going to be in the place where I was from, where my ancestors ruled and reigned. And so I was so excited. And I came a little bit naive. I came a little bit with the idea that Ghana was heaven and Ghana was perfect. And all my memories of Ghana were of love and fun and of enjoyment and of childlike joy. And so coming back home, that's exactly what I placed on Ghana. But now as an adult, when I landed, I started to soon realize that Ghana wasn't necessarily the heaven that I had painted it to be in my mind. I saw young children on the street. I saw so many young women on corners of the street at the nighttime coming to sell their bodies, hoping for money to sustain their life and going into a lifestyle that they likely did not choose. I came to realize as I was on my study abroad trip and we were going to top companies across Ghana, both multinationals and startups within Ghana, that there were very few women. I could count on one hand the amount of women we met at all those businesses combined. And I started to realize that Ghana, much like every other country, has a long way to go in development, but specifically in the development of women. And so it all culminated at the Cape Coast Castle. And for those of you who don't know, that is the largest slave castle in all of West Africa. And so it was at that point where you could still smell the feces of your ancestors, after I walked through the door of no return and went up to the balcony. The tour guide said, "Everyone stop." So dramatically, we all looked to him, and he said, "Look to the sea." And we all did. And it was a beautiful view, a picturesque view, a beautiful day. And he said, "Imagine, this sea used to be filled with ships coming in, and they were taking away people, but they took more than people. They took dreams, innovations, legacies." And it was at that very moment in my heart that the spirit within me said so clearly, what was lost to the sea, the waves will return. And it's a Ghanaian proverb that goes to show that nothing that was lost cannot be brought back. And so Yielding Accomplished African Women, we are set by God. We are an organization by God, I always tell everyone, that is set to bring back what was lost. Bring back the self-efficacy that was lost over generations. Bring back the empowerment that was lost over generations. Bring back the ability to dream and to think and to innovate to African, to Black women again. Because through so many things, through the intersection of race and gender, age, class, so many things that Black women face, many of us have lost the ability to dream. Many of us have lost the ability to see our power and purpose. Many of us have let go of the core mandate that we were created for because of what we have experienced. And so Yielding Accomplished African Women is here to ensure that trait, that history is stopped. And we see a new narrative, and we see a new story. Like Chimamanda Adichie said, when there's only one narrative, it's very dangerous. And so our goal isn't to just make women corporate women, isn't to just make them entrepreneurs. Our goal is to diversify the narrative. Black women are entrepreneurs. Black women are going to be top CEOs, CTOs, COOs. Black women are also able to say, I've loved what I've done in corporate, and now I'm going to stay home and raise the next generation. An accomplished African woman is a woman who knows her purpose and power and lives it fully. And so that is what we are seeking to do. And that's how we create it. When you are someone who has a vision and you're visionary, I'm someone who people describe as in the clouds. I like to see the future. I like to dream of big things happening and things shifting. But a lot of times, those people aren't good with details, right? So I had to take this big vision, this big clarion call that I knew in my spirit, in the bowels of my being. I knew this was what I was supposed to do, into something that I could actually present, put in a deck. And so what did I start with? I started with research. I knew from university, being a sociology major, being a women gender sexuality major, so many people make the mistake of thinking they always have the right solution. So many people make the mistake of wanting to go to a population and tell them what they need to do. And especially as someone who had been in the US for so long, I did not want to come to Africa and say, this is what you need to do, because this is what we're doing in the US. And so I took my time to do research. I was studying reports from the United Nations. I was studying reports from McKinsey, and I was just learning about the education system in Ghana specifically, but all of Africa, learning what were the hiccups, learning about the huge unemployment rate for people who have university degrees, learning what are the barriers, what's stopping the growth, the acceleration, what's stopping the STEM degrees for women. Why aren't women attaining STEM degrees as much as men? And so this is what I researched, and our solution came out of that research. The solution to me was something that attacked lack of visibility, lack of access, and lack of knowledge. These three core pillars are what we created YAW on. And so we said, how can we give them visibility? Well, being a brand ourselves, connecting with partners such as Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, we are their visibility. We serve as the bridge for them, right? Because there's no way that we're gonna get all of these women in front of these people unless it's through a conduit, right? And so we are the conduit to give them visibility, access. We are the conduit that also has these partners sign up to give them jobs, sign up to give them training, sign up to give them courses that people are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for. Because we are saying, if you really care about diversity, if you really care about gender development, invest in us. It's an investment. And so we give them access to trainings they would have never received likely. Access to HR professionals, access to webinars and development trainings that they likely are not receiving in school, in university, and through their social capital. And then lastly, knowledge. As an organization, we don't just teach them Python, how to create your resume, how to do an interview. We teach them things that no one's really talking about. How to wear your natural hair in the workplace, how to command a room as a woman. We know that our cultures, our countries have a certain view of how women need to show up. And so you are not just gonna go and say bye to the histories and the culture of Ghana, Kenya, South Africa. We're just gonna change that in a day. That's not how it works. So how can we tell them to innovate, but also understand how to work and how to maneuver in the system that is already there? And so that is what we have built and structured YAW to be. And the biggest part of the development was really just getting a team to work out the kinks, getting a team to add some ideas, getting a team to help me put all of these things together in a way that is written, in a way that we can present to people, in a way that looks also visually appealing. And so that is how YAW first started after I came back from Ghana. Yeah, so we incorporated in May of 2018. So we are 3 years old. And the journey has been swift. The journey has been so gracious, and the journey has been very successful. I am so grateful, and that's why I call myself the lead servant of YAW, because to be in this organization and serve in this organization is an honor. We've been able to impact thousands of women. We've been able to build an online community of over 1,000 women. We've been able to partner with Goldman Sachs, Google, IBM, Educative, Corporate Financial Institute. We've been able to give out over $60,000 in scholarships. We've been able to place people at EY and at Ghana Statistical Service and at Bank of America, Goldman Sachs. We've been able to do so much, and we are so young. And so I'm very grateful, most importantly, for the mindsets that we have shifted, the hearts that we have enlightened, and the women that we have empowered in this 3 short years that we've been around. Our first cohort was 10 women, and now we have cohorts of hundreds of women at a time. And within those 10 women, there was one girl who was Nigerian. And because it was in Accra, Ghana, this was unusual. We expected everyone to be Ghanaian. We expected everyone to be from Ghana. But she actually had left a very war-torn area within Nigeria and came to the University of Cape Coast at the ripe age of 14 years old. She graduated from the University of Cape Coast as the valedictorian of her computer science class. And yet she had no job. She had no prospects of a job. And she was going back to Nigeria a bit defeated. Defeated that all that she did, all that she traveled, all that her parents supported her to do to come to Ghana, she was going back without the result all of them wanted, which was a job, a career, a plan for the future. Somehow she saw our adverts on social media and signed up. We housed her that summer for 3 months at University of Ghana, Legon. We made sure that she went through our program and that she was safe in Ghana, even though she was not necessarily supposed to be there. She excelled through all of our training. So smart, so capable, so determined. And she was able, within 2 months of leaving our 3-month program, to get 15 software engineering job offers. She did it in a way that was so graceful and so wise that she took 2 offers instead of only taking 1. She worked at EcoBank in Ghana, did her national service at EcoBank Nigeria, because she's Nigerian, and then took the Bank of America offer after her national service, and she is now in Bank of America in London as the only Black female software engineer on her team. And not only that, she's a Google Udacity scholar. Google, before COVID hit, asked her to come and be a speaker at the Google International Women's Day to talk about how we can get more women like her in tech. And so she is truly an accomplished African woman. She is what we like to call a fit woman, fearless, inspired, and transformed. And through her story, 1 out of 10 reminded me and pushed me that first year to know that what we created and what we were putting on a Google Doc was more than a Google Doc. What we were coming to do was more than a project or a good idea, but it was something that was really going to be a generational shift for women who look like myself and women across the world who have continuously been told, no, you can't do it, you don't have the traits, you don't have the mind, you don't have whatever you need to do it. And so I'm really excited for that generational shift. What we struggle with is really visibility. The grace to be visible in this world where every African woman would know about us and every company would know about us to be the one-stop shop for African female talent or Black women, female talent in general, has really been probably our greatest hurdle. It takes a lot of marketing, it takes a lot of branding, it takes a lot of favor to be in the right place at the right time. And so all of these things are things that are building and growing, and we've every year gotten bigger, every year gotten more exposure, every year we've grown. But it really still takes a push to be able to get into more schools, in front of more women, in front of more companies. And on the second hand, it's always the people. Every leader always says what's the most important thing, and they say people. And, until I was a leader, I thought that was a very cliche answer. I thought, it was what everyone said, so everyone just kept saying it. But I've come to realize that there's nothing more important than people and the social capital you have, whether it be in relationships for partnerships, relationships for sponsorships, or relationships for your team. People are the most critical element of any organization, movement, period. And so to be able to find dedicated, successful, intelligent, gifted skill men is something that has been a constant hurdle that we had to overcome and a constant growth area for our company. The greater vision for YAW is that we would serve as the largest online career community for Black women in tech and finance, and create programs that would allow Black women globally to thrive in areas that no one would assume we would be in. For example, we created the first Black Women in Machine Learning conference 2 years ago, and we hope that this conference continues to be the place where Black women globally in machine learning and AI can come together to learn, develop, connect, and build futures and build technologies that will benefit the world. So you can just go to our website and there is a join now button. You can join our online community absolutely for free. And you can be able to be a part of some of our webinars, our trainings, and our upcoming programs, and keep updated with all of the amazing things that we are doing this year and beyond. My parting words to young Black women across the world would really be that something my mom told me and continuously tells me all the time. And she says, life is like photography. We develop from the negatives. And as a woman, as a Black woman, I can guarantee there has been some negatives in your life. Myself, I'm a sexual assault survivor. Myself, I come from a single parent household. And I've seen some things in my life that I wish I hadn't. But what I've realized is that life will continue whether you want to continue in it or not. And so it really depends upon us to make sure we're making wise decisions on what we're doing with every moment and every day we have. You never put yourself in a place where you have to struggle to just get something, right? There are losses we must incur, and then there's losses we take for no reason, that give no value, that give no return. And so there are some corporate places and there are some women that we had to work with where I had to tell them, you need to leave that job. You need to move towards the entrepreneurship that you're so scared to do. And sometimes we need to really discern based off of who we are and what situation we are in. What is the best course of action, right? I work at Google, and so many of my YW fellows just want to work at Google. And I'm like, no, Google works for me, right? Google works for me, but it may not work for you. And so you must understand, in whatever environment, whatever place you are, if you cannot develop, if you cannot continue to grow, if you cannot move forward from even a negative or positive experience, you need to remove yourself. Because life is going to continue whether you are dutifully in it or you are just moving through the motions of life. And so I hope that every woman really gets to a place where they have a community, they have a mindset, and they have a heart that is willing to always put themselves in the best place possible for them to meet the end goal of their purpose. Not the end goal of other people's opinions, not the end goal of what your mom told you to do, but the end goal of what you were really created and brought on this earth to do. And if that's as simple as selling popcorn, sell the popcorn in a way that will create innovations in the popcorn industry forever. We really try to dilute or put other trades and industries under some others. But I really believe that everyone has a gifting and a calling. And when you see someone walking in their gifting or calling, it's like they're unstoppable. And it's really not because of any luck or anything that has all of a sudden hit them. But when you start to move in your realm of authority, that is what it's called, your realm of authority, no one can really move you because you're moving in your dominion, you're moving in your place that was set for you before you were even here. And so I ask every woman, seek to always develop in life and seek to always reach and try to maintain yourself in your realm of authority. Because whether people like it or yes, they'll have to understand and come to the point where they realize your value in your realm of authority.